Hello everyone and welcome to the 184th episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson. Here we talk about movies, TV shows, dickheads on motorcycles going past me as I'm doing the intro.
God damn
a bunch
it.
of nonsense.
Have they no respect for the craft?
Have they no shame? With me as always is my friend, co-host, and a man who has lots of respect for the craft of podcasting, as he is in fact a master of it.
He's doing one right now, if you can believe it. God, it's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
It's been what the philosophers call a hot minute since we recorded a pod last time.
It has. The last time we recorded, I was in your town of Sterling.
You were, and so what is that? That's over 3 weeks ago.
That's 3 weeks ago. Yeah, we've kept the pods
4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago.
No.
Wait. When did you come here? Was it not the 9th?
It was. Yeah, it was. Shit. Yeah, it's been about 4 weeks.
God damn. Fuck. Existential crisis.
No wonder we're bleeding subs. We're not. I mean, not more than usual. But we did keep the.
We're not, by the way. We are very successful.
We did keep some pods consistently coming. Consistently being not the operative word there. But anyway, we are back with a semi-up-to-date pod. Actually, no, an extremely up-to-date pod. This will be going out.
Actually, this is live streamed.
As soon as I can edit it, pretty much. So maybe in the next couple of days, because the weekend coming up. But today we're going to be talking. I thought we'd do a couple of news items from the past little while.
Okay.
Mainly one, which is not very relevant to the rest of the world, but to us extremely. It is a trailer with a tremendous twist, which I'm excited to talk about.
Ah, yes. It does have a humongous twist in it, some could say.
And then I was thinking, because I've been watching a lot of movies. I have a ton of mini reviews. I was thinking we save, I don't know how many you have, but we save most for another pod. We do one mini review each, then we do a little bit on Dungeons & Dragons, and then we talk Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. How does that sound?
You know what? I think that sounds very good.
That does sound fantastic. So, time code's down below if you want to skip around. It's going to be a good episode. Before we start, not an anecdote, but I did just want to mention, not that you should ever click off this podcast and go listen to something else, but after this podcast, may I just recommend, Sylvester Stallone's daughters have a podcast called, I think it's called Unwaxed or something, which is a kind of, I have questions.
Strange name.
But
I have serious questions.
They had Daddy Stallone on, as you would expect.
Dallone, as he's called.
Dallone. And I would just suggest you go listen to the first 2 minutes of that podcast. I won't spoil what's said, but I'll just
No. You've said this to me.
I'm saying like for the audience.
Oh, for the audience. I see.
The audience. You know, I had to send it to you. I just say, if you're a fan of this podcast, I think you'll enjoy the first 2 minutes of the Stallone daughter podcast. So go check that out.
Not to spoil anything here, but hey,
yeah, don't want to spoil anything, but
bird.
So I'm sure you can't put together what happens, but anyway,
I'm sure it's a mystery what goes on in those podcasts.
I'm gonna say let's dive right into some newsums. We have a bunch of trailers, and we also will have to catch up on some comments and stuff. But let's do some trailers. First, let's start with the Marvels. The Marvels had a trailer.
Yes,
the next Marvel film.
I have not seen it.
Okay, well, you know, we'll skip over that one then. That's fine.
No, we could talk about it. It's topical.
Well, it is topical, but it really does not look like anything. Like it looks fine. It looks like any of these.
It looks pretty darn average.
looks like all of them. Did you see the trailer for Next Goal Wins, the Taika movie with Fassbender?
I might have. It sounds very familiar. Describe it to me in great detail, and I will.
Fassbender is either British or Australian or New Zealand or.
I've seen it.
Yeah, this isn't about the trailer. This is just him, and he's training a football team from I want to say Samoa, and they're really bad. But then he kicks them into shape. Nothing. It looks really funny.
It's like a Ted Lasso kind of situation.
A bit. It's Taika Waititi's next film. I actually think it looks fantastic. I'm really excited for it.
Very nice.
All right, do you see the trailer for Dune 2 Tune? This is not I realize it's not a promising start to the pod. Although don't worry, we're getting to the stuff you really want to hear about. Don't you?
I have seen the trailer to Dune Tune.
Okay. What did you think? I wasn't ready for you to actually see it.
You're like, oh my god, what the hell? Looks pretty okay.
Looks like the first one, doesn't it?
I'm excited for it. What do you say?
It looks like the first one, pretty much.
Yeah, not much has changed. I see Brolin is still kicking about somehow. I believe. Even though I thought he died in the first one.
Enormous Skarsgård monster. I think he made an appearance. Did he not? Big ol'.
that's just Skarsgård.
Also known as Stellan to his friends and family.
It honestly looks pretty good. I'm gonna watch the second one. I thought the first one was pretty good. I kind of forgot about it, which says a little bit about it as well, I guess. But I'm here for it.
I will say, when I saw the first one, and I'm sure we talked about it in the pod, I was like, this is amazing, the most amazing visuals, whatever. And ever since, I haven't really thought about it at all. I never, like,
exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I think it is very much a cinema experience where it's like, you go in and it's like, oh, wow, this is great.
In the similarity to Avatar, maybe it could be cool to return to the world in the cinema. But we do also have Florence Pugh and Austin Butler, two good actors. So,
yeah.
That's something. All right, well, yeah, Dune 2 Tune, pretty good. Then there was, of course, the Godzilla x Kong porno film released. It's called, like, A New Dynasty or whatever the fuck, generic title. Did you see the teaser for this?
I did not see the teaser for this. I had not even heard of this.
It was just like a visualization type. It was just like a little teaser thing, but it looks like, so I'll describe it to you in great detail. We start on an ape-like creature, and then it zooms out, and then there are the skulls of Kong and Godzilla.
And it's George.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's Godzilla x Kong x George. And so apparently they're now teaming up, and it looks like they're going to be fighting a big old monkey.
But I thought Godzilla was the big old monkey.
You mean
correct me if I'm wrong.
Kong?
Yeah.
Oh.
Was he not?
You said
Wait,
Godzilla.
What?
You did call Godzilla the big old monkey.
Oh, I see.
That is a goof on your part. Yeah, no, that was what I was thinking. But
that is my bad.
I think if you remember
it's going to be like a Kong sibling rivalry, and then Godzilla comes in and just beats the shit out of it.
I'd be here for it. If you remember the first film, which I don't know if you've seen or not, at the end they team up to fight Mechagodzilla. So
I've not seen the movie, but I've seen scenes.
So it makes sense,
as I'm prone to do.
Yeah, you've seen 15-second Instagram reels because you are of this generation. Of
I've seen some cool Mechagodzilla edits.
So it kind of makes sense they'd fight a big monkey this time. Apparently, a lot of the cast is returning. You can tell I'm really invested. A bunch of the cast is returning, including Brian Tyree Henry, who was in the first movie, and as much as I love him, was terrible in it.
Who is that again?
It's Orange and or Tangerine.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So
it is lemon, but
whatever. You always do this.
Gives two options, neither of which are right.
Anyway, it looks fine, cool. The big one though is of course
the news that's very relevant to us.
Yes. So this went a little under the radar for me, especially because I try to watch most of the new trailers that come out just in case, I'm like, I didn't know this was coming out, and then, put it in my little release calendar. It's a good time. So I see this A Haunting in Venice, and it looks...
We're like, okay.
It could be like a thriller or something. And I start watching it, and I'm thinking, okay, is this like a Guillermo del Toro type kind of whimsical horror thing? It's looking kind of interesting, and I'd like to stress, and maybe we're just out of the news cycle, but I'd heard nothing about this movie's production or that it was being made.
Me neither.
They didn't spoil anything in the thumbnail, which I appreciate. It was just like just a classic movie, and so I have never been like shocked like this by a movie trailer before, where like I legitimately did not know it was coming, and I think
I genuinely did not know how to react, and I just started screaming.
And you can have the honors of describing to the audience what happens here.
Oh, a true honor. Thank you. It's, well, as you said, it's this kind of like mysterious thriller horror kind of thing. Also, it doesn't really fit the vibe of what I
Of the eventual reveal?
of the eventual reveal.
No.
But yeah, towards the end of the trailer, it does in fact zoom do a cheeky face zoom on one Hercule Poirot.
Probably the best detective.
It's Russian for some reason. probably didn't be detective. Yeah, I burst out laughing also because the setup was you sent me this and say, I'm not going to say anything, just watch this.
It's like you're just the ultimate jump scare. Yeah. So it's the third.
So he returns.
He didn't die. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't see the last one, but he returns. Hercule.
I still can't believe you've not seen the last one.
I might.
We've built this like he's this cult phenom, and you haven't bothered to watch one of the 2 movies he's in.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh. Legitimately, my reaction to it when it pulled out the end, I was like, "Oh, Kenneth Branagh's like doing another role with a mustache. Like that's kind of like I was like, I'll make a funny joke about this being like Hercule Poirot, and I was like, wait a fucking minute, that is Hercule Poirot.
Wait a minute, I know that mustache."
And so yeah, it's a horror movie kind of because at the end he does the classic like look in the mirror and then there's no one, then look back in the mirror and there's like a creepy girl behind you, whatever. So an interesting.
But
direction.
so is it? So it's not a murder mystery. It's like a horror haunted house kind of mystery.
It seems like a haunted house, like not like scary, but sort of like whimsically fantastical, which I guess is.
But surely it can't be fantastical because we've done a bunch of, not done a bunch, but like we've seen Hercule in action.
Well, I mean,
so are they just doing a complete universe switch here? And suddenly you see Hercules flying through the air, riding his stash.
I mean, there was something kind of whimsically fantastical about 8 people stabbing Johnny Depp.
It was almost elf-like. It was beautiful.
There was some movie magic in works there. Yeah, I don't know. That being said, though, I kind of like the random switch because, I mean, having not seen the last one, because I was like, it'll probably be kind of the same, it'll be fine. So this one, at least I'm talking about, and also, I was very much sure that the last movie did not do well at the box office. So I'm kind of another reason why it really caught me off guard. They did this just.
Do you think they're just gonna make this a thing where they write a movie script, film the entire thing, and then they just in the last few weeks of production they spice it up with a Hercule twist, and he just enters a random movie universes.
They digitally just
like a time traveler. Honestly, kind of a great idea.
That sounds just fucking fantastic.
Have this character just randomly show up in movies like once every other year or something.
Just genre hopping. I love that. Yeah, it could be in like a cop procedural, a western.
You're watching the opera out of nowhere. You're like, wait a minute, I recognize that
He's
hair
behind you
on that there upper lip.
But yeah, anyway, A Haunting in Venice. Sure, I guess. Yeah.
I will watch.
I say we could now transition into our mini reviews. And I say, you do one, I do one, and then we do Dungeons and Guardians.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first, or should I go first? What are we thinking?
You can hit it. You can hit it.
Okay. Well, I'll go with a topical one because it came out a few months ago. I finally had the chance to see it.
Okay.
With the Papa Hudson. We went and we were gonna go see Air, but then it was not playing, which was sad. So instead,
it did not air. One could say.
Oh God. Give me a minute over here.
Give me some paper towels.
We did go see The Fabelmans, a.k.a. the Spielberg movie about my dad's getting a divorce or whatever. And it was
nice.
It was pretty good. It was very Spielbergy with its sort of, like it's a bit cheesy, it's a bit kind of sappy, but in a cute way that you appreciate.
Okay.
And I mean, yeah, it was all very well made, and as an aspiring filmmaker, because it's sort of his, the story of how he started making movies and whatnot in his childhood. It was cool to see, also because I'm not saying I am the next Spielberg. However,
I'm not saying I've got so many things in common with Spielberg, but
there were just like some, which I'm sure a lot of aspiring filmmakers can relate to, but just some cute moments of like how he made his first movie with some toys he had, and then he made movies with like his friends and all this stuff, and it's sort of relatable things like that. I'll just say, by the way, a little amazing parallel here in the movie and in his life. His first movie, he was a kid, he like smashed 2 toy trains together and it made a movie of that. When I was a kid, my first ever movie was, in fact, I had an Indiana Jones Lego set, and I had Indiana Jones gets shot, and I blew with a straw, and that knocked him over, and it was an amazing effect. And I just thought, the Spielberg connection there, very good. But anyway,
very good Spielberg connection.
I do think, however, you would enjoy a certain aspect of the film, and there was a bit of it because a lot of it's about like how kind of dysfunctional his parents' relationship was, which is interesting drama, but also occasionally, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like slightly uncomfortable to watch a man make a movie about his parents' bad marriage.
And you say this is why I would like it.
No.
Yeah, so you really like it. It was super uncomfortable and talked about divorce.
It was about failed relationships and a lack of communication. I think you'd find it hilarious. But I think the kicker that you'd enjoy, a large, and spoiler alert for The Fabelmans and Stephen's life, but a large part of the film is his mother does have an affair with someone, and that someone in the film is Seth Rogen. So Steven Spielberg,
is it actually?
At, I would say the age of like 76, made a movie about his dad getting cucked by Seth Rogen, which is kind of a baller.
Do you think this is like the old? Do you think this is like the ultimate kind of comeuppance and getting back at the guy that his mom cheated with by casting Seth Rogen as him?
I mean, very much possible.
Not saying anything bad.
To be fair, he fits the role very well. He's supposed to be like a bit of a jokey man, but also it was slightly distracting. Okay. I was like, oh, you really cast Seth Rogen as the man who
Am I really watching Donkey Kong?
Yeah. He does hit a very subtle. I can tell Spielberg told him to restrain it. He hits a very subtle kind of moment. But it was kind of sweet. I did feel, I don't know. I guess it's based on real life, so like you can't go too hard, or whatever. But and I don't want to disrespect Spielberg or his mother because that would be bad, especially for someone who wants to be in the film industry.
What a sentence!
But, I mean, his mom in the movie, she's a very very complicated person. But I would also say she is very hard to root for and like, and it feels like,
are you supposed to root for her?
It feels like that, or it feels like yours. I don't know. It like, and I guess it's kind of complicated because it's told from his perspective, and it's sort of like, he, even though she's made some mistakes, he sticks with her because he's her son, or whatever. But there was a little bit of like, I don't know. There's a moment, they have a moment in like a field where they're kind of like laughing about this thing, and they're sort of like, like what's gonna happen? And I was like, you're still, I'm not really on board with this like wholesome moment here. Like you still cheated on Paul Dano with Seth Rogen. I get it's a complicated life thing and whatever, and there's depth to it, but also but
also, what the fuck?
Yeah, it just kind of ends with like the dad kind of being sad, which I guess is his life, but I don't know.
Which I guess is very
what
accurate.
Happened, but yeah. So anyway, it was cute enough, and it was interesting, and I will say did have one funny moment towards the end where there's like this bully or something starts crying in front of the Steven Spielberg character, and he's like, you better not tell anyone about this. And then the Steven Spielberg character's like, unless I make a movie about it someday. It's kind of like, because he did make a movie about it.
Reference.
Pretty good. But yeah, pretty fun. I'm sorry about all those things I said about your mom. I didn't mean it. It was just a movie thing. Anyway, pretty good, I guess.
I'm sorry, Spielberg, please. All right. That does sound quite good. I might give it a cheeky watch. My one movie I'm going to go with, also topical, dare I say even more so.
Oh.
Because it came out more recently.
Sheesh.
I went to watch Evil Dead Rise.
Ooh, that is very topical.
Very topical. And dare I say, very good. Very good. I mean, I was terrified, and I didn't have a great time with it in terms of
I soiled myself.
I brought 16 different pairs of underwear with me, and none were clean at the end. But it was actually a very, very good movie. I think possibly apart from Get Out, I think this is definitely my favorite horror movie, and definitely my favorite like kind of, demonic, over the top kind of horror movie. It was very good. It was also like it kind of strayed from the norm because this one was just like constant action and gore. It was like almost like a home invasion movie where there's like the entirety of it is just this like the entire movie takes place over like the course of I want to say like 5 hours or something. It's actually very, very good. The effects are great, the acting's really good, and it's just so gross and very scary. There's, I will say, for the first time in a long time, very good child actor.
Wow. That is a.
I enjoyed.
That is a huge.
You can tell it's a good movie.
Compliment from the tall guard. For those who don't know, Freddy traditionally hates children. For him to say it was a not even, I think the best you've gone so far is like, I didn't hate him. So to say it's actually a good performance, that's crazy.
It was a good performance. And I guess not the main character, but like the mom who, spoiler alert, I mean, I don't know if have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, but yeah, you can spoil it. It's okay.
Like the mom who like gets possessed, and stuff like that. Actually, also very good and very scary and just like, so gross. And there's this like reoccurring thing, with spoiler alert. It's not a huge like thing, but it's just like a reoccurring thing where the main character, she's like pregnant. It was like accidental pregnancy, and once the mom gets possessed, she really like just kind of like goes in on her for it in like weird and gross ways. I was like, this is I didn't like
physically
it.
or verbally.
Both.
Oh.
Like she like kind of scratches the stomach a little bit, and then she says like, this little bitch should have gotten aborted and stuff. I was like, oh no.
Damn.
But overall, movie was actually very, very good. And a very satisfying ending to it as well.
Oh. Have you seen the other Evil Dead movies, out of interest?
I have not.
But it stood alone?
I've strayed far away.
It worked
it did stand alone, yeah. It was, I think it might be the origin, but again, I haven't seen the other one, so I don't really know. But like, it's kind of weird where the beginning of the movie basically serves as an epilogue, like what like happens at the end of what actually is going to happen in the movie, but they kind of like show a bit of action in the beginning.
Huh. That's yeah, because I think from what I know of the others, I haven't seen them, but I have some friends who love them. They're kind of like very over the top and maybe like a little bit satirical horror movies. And would you say this sort of had that vibe?
I mean, again, I it's definitely over the top, and I think it is satirical in some ways. I don't know. I can't really compare it to the other ones, obviously, but it did feel like just full-on gore for a lot of it, which I think worked for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I was sitting. There was many times. There was like 6 people who left the cinema because it was like
really
they didn't watch it. Yeah, and then I was sitting there just kind of like shivering in me timbers.
Damn, yeah, it effectively spooked you good. That's sometimes you talk about horror movies and you
certifiably spooky.
And like I think with like Smile, you were like, yeah, you know, it was okay. It wasn't like that scary. So for it to actually shake those timbers, I think that's a pretty ringing endorsement.
Color them shaken.
Well, speaking of topical, and a film that we actually saw together in the latest Woodies, where we went to
a surprisingly good time.
And
not the Woody, the movie.
No, the Woody was trash. But we did, in fact, in Sterling, go together to go see Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. And a film that I genuinely, I think we talked about on the pod, so I'd like some credit for this. But like when it was announced, it's like, who cares, Dungeons & Dragons? I'm not a nerd. But then I saw the trailer, and I was like, you know what? That looks a bit charming.
You know what? I like it.
That might be worth my money. And I was thinking, watching the trailer, maybe it was like a Lord and Miller thing, because it kind of had that vibe. But it turns out it is the director or the directors of Game Night, which kind of makes sense, because that is also a very delightful, fun movie. And it was extremely enjoyable. Way better than
it was just so nice. Yeah, it had no right being so good. I will say, like, the beginning of it, I was like, because I went in with very low expectations. I think the beginning, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I think it's going to be. And then after like 10, 15 minutes, it just picked up. It was just a good, fun time.
It's just an absolute romp. It's been compared to Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's an appropriate comparison. It's very much in that style of a fun team of wisecrackers. Sorry. The way my intonation, that made it sound like wisecrackers was 2 words. I meant wisecrackers, singular. No, it was a super fun, like, team dynamic, and it was just one of those, like, I don't know, they do these movies where they have, like, banter, and I mean, a lot of the kind of more recent Marvel movies have been like this, where they have banter and it feels kind of forced and, like, production line-like, and this was just one where, like, the actors actually had good chemistry, the writing was actually funny, it was just actually good.
And can we just talk about the fact that Grant, who's in this, very nuttily, has just resorted to playing a single role for the rest of his life.
Hugh Grant plays one character in every movie now. This is the same as it was in The Gentleman. He is Fletcher Mundo.
And the same as in, was it like Rudiger?
Operation Fortune, yeah. Just like a an extremely nutty, kind of nefarious character. Who's just like a huge dick, but also just very enjoyable to watch. And he's kind of foppish,
so
and, like,
nutty,
British, and just so good. I don't know. But he is very much the same character in every movie now. But he was great. Also, spoilers for the movie. I just very much enjoy a good the villain gets the absolute shit beat out of them at the end moment, and this movie does contain
Hulk style
on Loki. There's just a great 30-second sequence where they all just pulp him, and it's just really fantastic. But yeah, I think, and it also it went like above and beyond to make set pieces interesting, where, you know, with a Fast and Furious, or say an Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania thing, they'd kind of, I don't want to say they do the bare minimum, but they kind of do exactly what you're expecting. And here there are so many, as maybe is true for the Dungeons & Dragons game, who's to say I've never played, I'm not a nerd.
You're not knowing the lore here.
Right. They have so many different contraptions and spells and, you know, different methods of getting into a place and impersonating another person, turning into this animal. None of it's confusing, but it's just, like, it makes all the action scenes really fun and engaging, and like they all have different kind of abilities and specialties. It's like exactly what you'd want I guess you could call it like a heist type movie with like a team of people with diverse skill sets.
It did feel like, I mean, I guess it was in some parts, but it did feel like a little bit of a heist movie. They had to have the different abilities, and they complemented each other well. What did you think of the illusions that were sometimes put up, specifically the Pratt one where his face starts melting and going insane?
That was wonderful. Also, I think you mean Pine. You did say Pratt. I'm just gonna put that out there. You're a little off your game today, but it's okay.
I'm all over the place.
No, that Chris. That was great. Yeah, there were just like a lot of really funny moments. I really liked, I think his name is Justice Smith, who was the kind of like loser wizard guy.
The loser wizard.
Michelle Rodriguez, who, to be fair, I've only seen her in the Fast and Furious movies, but I have not been crazy about her in those. I thought she was really good here.
Sorry.
Are you good?
There was a fucking marching parade going on outside my street, which is delightful. Oh, it's because it's the king's coronation or something today.
Oh, maybe.
It is, but is it? I don't know if it is. Is it?
Huh. Also, I didn't think your street would be very frequented. It's not like a main road. It's for you.
It's like a bunch of police and drummer boys.
It's a very bizarre arrest situation.
They figured me out.
They know they'll get you out with the drums.
Yeah, they know I listen to the tunes.
Also, did you see that video of the people on the football pitch chanting, "You can shove your coronation up your ass"?
I did not, but I can definitely imagine it.
It was very Lizzie's in a Box-esque. But I was going to say something else. It's completely accessible to anyone who hasn't played Dungeons & Dragons, which, for the record, I'm joking when I say that's only for nerds. We do a movie podcast. Calm down.
Yeah.
But there was one other thing. What did I want to say? Although the abilities and all the powers and stuff were not confusing, what was confusing was a certain cameo, which... spoilers for Dungeons & Dragons, very
so incredibly strange.
Like, it's not like the weirdest thing that could have happened, but it's so random.
I feel like it is. It's so random. If you ask me to predict something, like anything that would happen in this movie, I think that might genuinely be the last thing I would ever have seen coming.
Yeah, so
Bradley Cooper.
Spoilers, there is a miniature Bradley Cooper cameo as Michelle Rodriguez.
Who plays the ex-dwarf lover of Michelle?
Yeah. He was just there, and I was like, he looks familiar. Who is that? I was like, oh shit, that is Bradley Cooper for some reason. Who does he owe money to?
What bet did he lose to be in here?
Pine
I just watched
had a game of poker going with him.
I just watched Burnt as well, which we'll talk about next time we do mini reviews. You know the Cooper chef movie?
Cooper Cookin'.
That's a tagline. Cooper Cookin'. So like seeing him how intense and like different he was in that, and then thinking back to this little nutty miniature boy who was just sitting there,
very confusing.
So confusing, and but also delightful. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would say I don't have much else to say about it. Like there's fun action, likable characters, funny. It was very funny. Like I was laughing consistently throughout it. I would say and wholesome. No, it's nothing like unpredictable. Like exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you know that it's gonna be used to, spoiler alert, to save Michelle Rodriguez in the end instead of bring back his. I was gonna say his mom, his wife,
his mother wife. Yeah,
it just works. You don't need to overthink it. It's just a fun adventure romp.
I would say if you did not check this out, which I don't know how well this did, but if you didn't, and you enjoy like a Guardians of the Galaxy or like a like a fun romp, it definitely worth checking out. Very enjoyable, surprisingly so.
Yeah, very true. One last thing.
Oh,
the guy who was very Drax-esque, like the perfectionist who like couldn't do metaphors and stuff.
Yeah.
Also enjoyable.
There wasn't a single character who I didn't like. Like they were all quite fun in their own way. And him and Pine did have a very charming dynamic. They fight a fat dragon. It's just great. Yeah.
What more could you want?
Surprising dub. But speaking of films that feature in a prominent role Bradley Cooper, I say, is it time we get on to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
I believe it is.
And I would say, because this one did just come out, it might be worth doing non-spoilers and then spoilers.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
So there are time codes. Well, we're not getting to... We're doing non-spoilers first, and we'll warn you before we get to spoilers. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3... One of, we've talked about Marvel has had a bit of a poor run of form lately. At least, I mean, there's still some good stuff in there, but comparatively to the consistency they used to have, there's a lot of ups and downs now. And this was the last one that I was kind of quite excited for a while. And I have to say, did
it live up?
It very much lived up to all of my expectations. I can't lie. I was a very big fan.
Yeah, it was actually so good. I enjoyed it so much. Like, I think it's very different from Guardians 1, which I think is otherwise maybe my favorite Marvel movie. But it just worked so well. It's definitely better than the second one. I think it might be up there in like top 5 Marvel movies for me.
Ooh, that's a big call. But it'd definitely be in my top 10. I don't know about top 5 just yet. But I agree. I think it is a little different from the first one, where I feel like the first one was a lot more comedy than this one.
This one is very heavy on the emotion and the
still very funny,
the heart, but still very funny. Yeah. But it does give a more kind of deep and holistic feeling to like the kind of friendship and partnership between them, and it's just. And I think I've always thought Rocket was my favorite character in the Guardians. So having him be more in the spotlight in this one was very, very good.
Yeah. So this movie, it does take kind of a without spoiling it. I mean, if you don't want to know anything, just come back to this when you're done. But it's basically a 2-part film where like kind of some of the film is exploring Rocket's backstory. And then the rest of the film is kind of the romp kind of Guardians adventure. And yeah, it was just, he's always been, especially in the second one, which again, I didn't like love as much as the first, but in the second one, I did think all the Rocket stuff was easily the best part, where like he's kind of coming to terms with like he's kind of an asshole and he should open up a bit more and all that. And here just, I don't know, it was so effective, especially for like a fucking CGI raccoon who befriends like a walrus on wheels and a ferret without arms
and a rabbit with like spider legs.
Horrifying, by the way. But also, by the way, can we just say on the the ferret with robot arms or otter or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to say anything.
Well,
but were we kind of almost right with the sibling / lover angle? Because you could make an argument for either, really. I mean,
you really could, because clearly they're. Yeah, I was gonna bring this up because again, not a huge spoiler, but this ferret and Rocket, they're like they're not mutated. They're like biomechanically engineered together, shall we say?
Yeah.
And then I feel like there is a bit of a romantic kind of thing between them. But then Rocket does also say, "I love you, sister."
But yeah, like, there was like a beautiful kind of family dynamic, but also possibly some underlying tension. So I'm just saying, as far as a stupid and possibly really gross joke that we made, kind of not that far off. Like
we're kind of on it.
You could have gone either way. I'm just saying. But no, yeah, I thought all the backstory stuff. Again, even though there were kind of long periods of the movie, even the opening shot is where with the other films, I think it's been a lot more kind of like the opening. Generally, there's more like funny and especially like the opening musical moment. Like the first one, you have them dancing, and the second one, you have them in this battle. This one's quite somber and kind of toned down.
Kind of sets the tone. Sets the tone for the rest of the movie.
You're kind of waiting for like a big joke to break it up. Like someone falls on Rocket and does a fart or something. And I thought, I don't know, it blended those tones really well without it being like this depressing ass. I kind of feel like Black Panther 2, as much as I really liked it, I thought it was really good. It was a little bit heavy on the sadness.
It did go heavy on the sadness, yeah.
And this one has sadness, and especially with like the Gamora stuff, which I thought was great, and the Rocket stuff and all that. But it blends it really well with the comedy, where it doesn't feel kind of like just like a downer movie. It's like it's still a really fun adventure, and it's just really wholesome. Like
it's just so heartfelt, and I think this is the first Marvel movie, maybe apart from Endgame, where your boy did tear up a little bit. It's
I did as well.
It's like the whole Rocket, like all the Rocket stuff. Again, we'll get into a bit more in detail later on, but it just really got me choked up, and just kind of like seeing how like very brutal the treatment he'd had in the past was and everything. Just so well done. I also really like the villain.
We might have a little contention here. I didn't. The guy I saw it with, he hated the villain. He was like, it's so generic, and I agreed to an extent. I didn't hate him as much as he did, but I did think he wasn't that interesting. I like the actor, Peacemaker alum.
Exactly. Peacemaker alum.
But he was just, I don't know, he kind of, I felt like he could have been really interesting, and he sort of devolved into like, I'm screaming because I'm evil sort of thing.
I mean, I think his like his goals and plans, those were kind of generic and whatever. But I think the acting he brought and the kind of interactions that were between him and Rocket, I found quite engaging, and I enjoyed them.
No, that's fair. His personal connection to Rocket, I think, probably was the highlight of his his character. I think, should we go spoilers now, just to kind of so we can talk more freely? I would just say generally loved it. Really big fan.
Me too.
Probably my favorite one since Endgame. Very, very much a fan.
Very, very good. I'm the same. It was one of my favorite Marvel movies in a long time.
So spoilers. First of all, no one dies in it, which was kind of surprising because we thought there might be multiple fatalities. But
I won't lie, I fully thought they just pulled the most insane 180 and just killed Peter in like the most stupid way ever. At the end, where his like face becomes Bubble Boy.
Yeah,
it just.
Well, that's the thing. I was gonna laugh during that moment. I was like, "Wait, is this like his death scene? Am I not supposed to find this kind of comedic?"
Yeah.
But yeah, he is saved by what's his name? Wheeler Miller's guy,
Captain Eyebrows,
who is, by the way, I really enjoyed. I thought he was really funny. It
was actually so good.
I'd be very down to see more of him in future stuff. He's just his kind of, I guess, like the sort of running joke is that he's basically like a child in this like god's body, who's sort of like trying to figure stuff out, and just like a very charming, a very very James Gunn side type of like character, just like very funny.
I laughed very hard when he when he kind of like is fighting, I believe Gamora, and it might just be Gamora. He's like flying through the ship and destroying everything, and then she picks up the little fur ball he's got with him, and after causing so much damage, she's like, "I'm gonna kill the fur ball." He's like, Let's not be hasty. Let's not be rash.
Yeah, no, that was very good. I have to say, with Gamora, I enjoyed the kind of running joke of like, because she's pre-Guardians Gamora, whatever, like taken from time. I love that she was just like super extreme and brutal and just like taking hostages and like shooting people in the knees and stuff. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was very good. I'll say
love a good kneecap.
Music, bangers. Some absolute tunes in here.
I feel like they didn't focus as much on the music as they have in the previous ones.
No,
you think
they did not? But I thought
it worked, but I would have liked just a little bit more music, because sometimes they put on a certified banger and then it would cut off after like 30 seconds.
That is true. Yeah, when Gamora starts up the ship in that one on that like animal planet, there's kind of like a song in the background. I thought like, oh, here we go. Here's gonna be like a song action scene. And then it cuts away from it. I was like, ah, damn. But I will say the No Sleep Till Brooklyn Beastie Boys moment in the hallway. Awesome action scene, so much fun.
That was very good.
And you know what? That's like one of the most overused songs in movies, but like this one, I don't know, it kind of like earned it. Like it felt like it was like it wasn't just thrown in like Suicide Squad style. Like it was like it really fit the moment. Yeah, I mean, I think we can talk, because the thing is like it was very funny and like all the action was quite. It was just like a very good, like a very very good action adventure blockbuster, kind of like we were talking about with Dungeons and Dragons, just like very enjoyable and fun. I mean, go into more detail, but I will say like, yeah, what stood apart for me, or like what kind of stepped it up for me from like I really enjoyed this to like I kind of loved that, was the whole ending and how it tied up these characters' arcs, because like I saw Guardians in the cinema 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about.
Yes. Oh god, it's so long ago.
And like I love that movie. I've seen it so many times. I love these characters. They're easily like my favorite kind of like group of characters in the MCU, and the ones that I have the most 100%. Emotional connection to. And I thought like you could not have done a better wrap up for like pretty much all of them that made me really like tear up. Like Drax gets, honestly, that was the moment that kind of got me choked up the most for some reason, where at the end I think it's Mantis or something says like, you weren't born to be a destroyer, you were born to be a dad or something. I was like, ah.
Yeah, that is. I was like, no, it's so cute.
And then he's dancing with the kids at the end, and like he finally gets to be like a dad again, basically. And it was like, oh my god,
it was so wholesome. Because I don't really remember from the second movie, but they don't put so much emphasis on Drax's character, do they? I don't remember, but I feel like it's well, like it's focused on in the first movie, but he kind of becomes the kind of comic relief in the second one.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to like, he's actually, he's got his own thing going on. It was very, very good.
And he was also, just besides that, he's easily the funniest part of these movies. He was so funny. Like,
the comedic timing is just so good.
No, it's
so like, it's such in-your-face jokes, but Batista makes it work.
Yeah, like a lot of these jokes should not work, but because of the way he delivers them, like it's just perfect.
It's the delivery. Yeah, it's so funny.
And I thought I really loved the Peter and Gamora, how they wrapped that up. Like the whole thing was quite interesting. But the way, because I was like, if they're gonna try to do this at the end where she does fall in love with him again, I was like, that's gonna feel a little bit forced. And the way they did it, it was such like, I don't know, I don't want to say like a mature decision, but like it would be, a lot of other movies like this would be like, and they're in love again, and here everything's perfect. But like, it makes it so much more real that like she actually did die. Like it gives consequences to her death. Yeah. And it's the first time, because all these movies, like no one ever dies, they always bring them back because you want to have the characters and the action figures and the actors come back and all that. And this is the first time they've brought a character back from the dead, essentially. And it didn't lose any of the impact of her death, because she is gone. Like it's fun to have Zoe Saldana in the movie, but like that, if the effect that death had on Peter is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And they had the moment at the end where she's like, "I bet we were fun," and all that. I was like, "Oh, man." And then he
you were fun.
And then he goes to Earth at the end and meets up with his grandpa. And I was like, that's such a weirdly perfect ending for him. Like, oh my god, no, it was.
But it does say that Star-Lord will return.
Which I don't. I mean, I imagine in Secret Wars or whatever, they're all gonna fucking show up again.
Yeah, but again, it's like, if they do it right, it'll be fine. But it does, as you say, feel like such a good ending for this character.
Yeah, just leave him. Just let him be.
Just let him do. Like I can support seeing Rocket and Adam Warlock and Groot again and stuff like that.
Yeah, the new squad,
not the new Guardians. But I don't know. Yeah,
I feel like their arcs are definitely done. If they want to have him show up for an action scene and all that, like that's fine. But don't. Yeah, like I don't think you can't do any more with Rocket. Like it's perfect. They did it exactly.
They've done it all. It was such good stuff with Rocket. I really, really enjoyed it. And
yeah,
the whole his family, friends, lover, stepsisters
situation.
That whole
stuck in the dryer. Yeah,
stuck in the walrus kind of action.
God. That walrus was so disturbing. Like it was pretty fucked up.
I think the rabbit was way more disturbing.
The rabbit was also very disturbing. Yeah, that's gonna give some kids some nightmares. I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly, the otter wasn't even like the otter was also a little bit disturbing. I won't lie. Like obviously it's just very sweet, but like the arms and stuff, I was like, Lila.
Yeah, gross. I prefer Floor.
Get out of here.
And also at the end where they take his like face off and the bad guy.
Yeah,
that was pretty fucked up. Also, by the way, speaking of which, I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to spoil anything. But as we were saying with Dungeons and Dragons, I love a great pulping of a villain at the end, and there is again just like a 30-second just absolute beatdown, and it's fantastic.
Absolute decimation.
Yeah, just completely fucked. And I don't know. Also, Rocket's
my boy got KO'd.
Rocket's Rocket Raccoon moment. Like it was
very cool.
You know what's interesting?
My name's Rocket Raccoon.
I did for a second think he was gonna say, "My name's Rocket, motherfucker," and then just like shoot out the gun.
What did you think of the Peter Quill swearing out of nowhere?
that was.
I forgot it was for this movie, but I did see a post where they said because of the rating, they are allowed to have one F-bomb, as they say in the movie. And it feels like they very much they didn't get the rating because they had the F-bomb. They got the F-bomb because they had the rating.
They were like, sure, let's just throw this in.
It's like, you know what? I can say the fuck.
Yeah.
But I won't lie. I hate how much it made me laugh, but it did make me laugh quite a bit.
No, it was pretty good. I also... What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say, a way you know that the emotional moments and like the kind of cool moments, like the Rocket Raccoon thing, were not that bad, is I did see this with a friend who is not usually like that big into Marvel movies, and he would definitely not be adverse to leaning over to me and saying cringe during like a moment if he did not think it was good, and as he did many times during Ant-Man and the Wasp, and there was none of that here. So I think that's a testament.
I would be kind of sad for you if you're watching this emotional moment as Rocket is like getting his revenge and just
cringe. Lame as fuck.
Hand.
Just pokes me as if he has something really important to say.
A bird.
No, and he actually enjoyed it. Again, for someone who is not a big MCU guy, so I think that says a lot.
For someone like him, it's good.
Some of his taste. I'm trying to think. I really enjoyed the animal world and just like a bunch. There were just like a bunch of fun set pieces in different places. I will say, before we do a little more stuff that we like, just like the two things that come to mind that I wasn't crazy about, and they sort of tie in together. One, I felt like it was a little long, especially in the climax. I felt like it kind of went on, as these movies kind of tend to. I thought the big final thing, there was maybe like one too many things going on there. And I did think there were a couple of, and this is quite a nitpick, but there were a couple of moments where it was just kind of, I didn't know why it was there. I'm specifically thinking of the elevator scene where it's Gamora, him, and Nebula and that person they take hostage, and he's sort of explaining the whole Gamora situation. And it felt kind of like it was an exposition scene, but we already knew all of this stuff, so I was a little confused why that was. Felt like you could have cut that.
I feel like I honestly kind of liked it. I liked the whole interaction between the four of them. I thought it was funny.
No, I did as well. I just think that specific scene was a little, I don't know, out of place. But I did that whole prison bit generally with Nathan Fillion and everything. I did think that was very funny.
That was very good.
Yeah.
Just weird, gross suits they were wearing.
That's very. I mean, I like the whole weird, gross planet that's like basically. I don't know if it's meant to look like a butthole, but just like the general.
But it did get me hot and bothered.
The general fleshy hole vibe. I was a fan of. quote me.
You sound like an absolute deviant. Yeah, my favorite planet is probably the one that looks like a big old vagina.
Do you have any more stuff that you're kind of thinking? I'm just trying to think if there's anything I've missed out on.
I mean,
what do you think of Kraglin and the space dog?
I thought the space dog was, as your friend would probably say, a little bit cringe in the beginning, but then I don't know, I warmed up to it towards the end. Kraglin was just kind of there.
I have to say, he's not my favorite part of these movies. I'm not nuts.
He's really not.
He's his brother. He's James Gunn's brother, and he's fine.
Oh, is he?
He is, which I'm not going to say that kind of explains why he gets to be in these movies. Like, he's okay.
But it does a little bit.
But he's a little bit like, do we need another Kraglin moment here? I don't know.
Do we need another Kraglin scene? I do agree. It was so predictable. It was like, oh, yeah, I can't use my little arrow. Oh, no. And then when people come in, they're like, oh, he's going to get the arrow up and running. He's going to be like, yeah.
Yeah. I also, I found out, Jennifer Holland, I think, who was the woman, like the blonde woman in the prison, and she's also from Peacemaker, Harcourt.
Yeah.
She's James Gunn's wife, actually.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
James Gunn is all about nepotism.
Yeah, I think that because he put her in Shazam or something, so I think that was a big thing where a bunch of people on Twitter were like, you just cast your wife and everything. But she's good, isn't she? She's good in whatever.
She's actually really,
she's really good.
She's really good.
Unlike your boy Sean Gunn, who as Kraglin, I'm not crazy about, but he's fine, I guess. He's all right. But oh my
Sean Gunn.
No, we have nothing but love and respect for Sean Gunn. Anyway, covered that base.
Sean Gunn.
Can we also? I can't believe we totally forgot to mention this. The Sylvester cameo.
Oh yeah,
Hand.
Classic Sylvester. Where you're still like, bro, hand.
He just in the middle of the scene grabs the camera.
Bird. He grabs Kraglin.
It is Sean Gunn. He's not playing Kraglin. But yes, Stallone shows up briefly to have a little bit of a cameo. Yeah. I guess that is what it is.
The complete sudden hatred for Kraglin.
Yeah, I have to say, okay, I'm not about to go on a Kraglin.
I just despise him.
But like, ever since...
Please, go on a Kraglin rant.
Ever since, look... no one hates him. Everyone's like, I guess you tolerate him, but like he's sort of he's not
just certifiably mid.
He's not bad, but do you get what I mean when I say like he's kind of, I don't say like annoying. Like he's not like poorly acted, but
he's just kind of whiny and he's just kind of unnecessary. Like he's supposed he's put up on this pedestal where it's like, oh yeah, because in the last movie he was like, I lost all my friends.
Becomes a Louisiana boy. As Sean Gunn maybe is, I don't know.
As Kraglin was destined to be.
But like I think,
alright, James to Sean's like, alright Sean, I want you to really get your inner Louisiana boy out there.
Sean says sheesh, goes to work.
A terrifying line. Sean says sheesh and went to work.
But like in the first movie, he's like Yondu's right-hand man. He's like a side character. He has a very brief moment. It's like, oh, that's pretty good. Second movie, he has a couple lines. He sort of like punctuates some jokes. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then the holiday special, he's there. And this one, I'm just like, I'm not a fan. Okay, he's fine. I have nothing but love and respect for Sean as a man, I guess, maybe. I don't know anything about him. I just don't love his thing in this movie. I don't know.
He is, yeah, I won't lie, I've never taken issue with him, but now that you've pointed it out, I can see it.
But now you know he is of the Gunn lineage.
The Gunn lineage. Well, you know what they should do? They should make a movie about, or James Gunn should make a movie about his life and all the ways Kraglin, aka Sean, was just a fuck up as a child.
Yeah. How he has carried his ass for all these years. I'm so curious. Has he been in something else? Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. Enough about Midland. I think we should wrap up our coverage here. I was a huge fan. I really love this movie. I thought it was very heartfelt, very funny, but I will remember it more for how it wrapped up these characters. I think, even though, I'm planning on going to see it with my mom and my dad because they like the first Guardians. And even though I don't think they'll like it as much as that one because it's not like as funny, and I think that's what they liked, or it's not like as it's very funny, but it's not as like much of a comedy. I think it's a really great wrap up for these characters that they will appreciate, and for that takes it from a really fun blockbuster movie to like a movie I kind of loved, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. It was genuinely it blew my expectations out the water because I went into it thinking it's going to be similar to Guardians 2, which I thought was fine. It was just kind of mid. But it really just like I look forward to the Rocket stuff because I knew there was going to be a bit on him, and then it just everything about him just blew my expectations out the water. And it was the acting was great, the action was great, everything just kind of came together very nicely.
There you go. I would call it a 9.1 or 2 out of 10.
You know what? I'm gonna go say 9.3.
Very good stuff. Well, with all that said, it's now time for
Get Down News.
So we actually have 2 pieces of Tom News here because we've been off for a while. I think I'll save. Lele sent us something. I think I'll save that for another time because that one kind of hasn't. We can talk about whenever. While this one is a little more time sensitive or happened recently. So Lele, we will get to that. But did you see Tom Cruise and James Corden doing Hakuna Matata?
What?
Did you not see this? Tom Cruise dressed as Pumbaa?
What?
Have you not? Check your Twitter. You were tagged in it. By Tom.
I was...
James Corden put at FDK_adult sniper. Check this shit out, fam.
God, what the...
So he did a... This
sounds like a fever dream you're describing to me.
I think they were at the British...
So Tom Cruise is Pumbaa.
They were at like the performance thing that we actually saw of Lion King, like the Broadway thing, and they did Hakuna Matata.
Okay, let me see here. Oh my god.
It's very unnerving, isn't it?
What is going on? I like how most of the people probably don't know it's Tom Cruise up there. Yeah. Cruise looks like he does not want to be there. That's the most awkward I've ever seen Cruise.
Yeah, it's a very strange clip, but I guess go off Cruise. But yeah, anyway. So fun stuff, I suppose.
Okay. Do we know why?
I think it was for James Corden's last show or something. He got pulled off the air or something. Physically, they dragged him off.
A daunting task.
No. You know what? Normally we don't do those kind of jokes, but that one was kind of good, so I'll leave it in. But generally, we don't. Anyway, we're now going to move on to the announcements and such, where we have a lot of comments to get through, so we're going to do this. Oh, by the way, before we do, Kian of the podcast fan page made 2 short films that were recently featured in, or he submitted to like a film festival. I think it won some awards or something. Good stuff. Very Congratulations. Nice. And possibly a couple of podcasters make a cameo in one of them. So if you want to check those out, those are on Kian Koneke's YouTube channel. Give him a shout. Support the next generation of filmmakers and us doing cameos.
Support local filmmaking.
But first we're going to do comments on Pod 182, where we have 33 comments. I don't know how that's possible. There must be some super long thread in here. God damn. Well, anyway, let's go for it. Okay. Movie Boy says the boys are back. Yes.
Affirmative.
Alfeld says, great that me and Freddie share the same opinion on Mario. Also, 3 end-of-year awards could be given to Mario. Best Stash, Mario, Luigi, or one of their family members. The You Tucked In There award, Keegan-Michael Key's Toad. Best George, Donkey Kong. What? That's very true. He also says, I'm wondering if Freddie has heard of Star Wars Visions. It's a Star Wars anime anthology series with each episode being by a different anime studio. They're about to have their 2nd season, which will bring animation studios from around the world, including your favorite studio, Aardman, the creators of Wallace and Gromit. So, Star Wars anime show.
Vision. Interesting. Don't love the Wallace and Gromit type activities they're up to, but other than that, sounds very good.
Also, I think we're going to get into I assume there's some comment about this, but there was some controversy about our Gromit and Wallace mixing up. If there's not a comment about that,
I believe it was yours.
Right. We'll get to that. Then Kian Konecki says, hashtag my father was a pastor. Daniel says it as well, and so does the Poorly Planned Podcast clips. I don't know what this meme is that we've missed out on here, but it's just a thing that's happening now, I guess.
I feel...
It can't be something we said. Is it some movie or something? I feel like such a boomer right now. I don't know what's happening. They're making fun of us.
Guys, I feel like such a boomer. Please.
Also, the Poorly Planned Podcast clips, who is not us for the record, who makes clips out of the thing. Some of his clips, man, they kind of pop off. There's one called "Nobody Likes Charlie Cox" that has 42,000 views. So,
what?
He's kind of pulling in the big bucks from our goddamn content. But no, it's fine.
What the fuck?
Appreciate
42,000.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, go off, I guess. But we don't see any royalties from that, but we appreciate it, I guess. I feel like we never figured out where we stand on this. Like, I think we're cool. I think it's a nice thing. Until the day where it just starts
42,000.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
134 comments.
It's probably a lot of hate comments because they're like, I love Charlie Cox, and they didn't actually watch the video. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, good for you, I guess, until maybe you overtake us, and then I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to, possibly joust. But at the moment, I guess I guess it's cool. I guess it's a nice thing. Anyway, Lucas says, 2 weeks without some poorly planned action. Don't know if I could have lasted any longer. Appreciate you.
Those two are not related.
Josie says, Freddy's now redeemed. Mario has saved you. I'm also okay with BHL saying it was an okay movie. I loved it. But this wasn't a Ghostbusters opinion. Let's go.
Let's go.
Super Mason says, Jack Blackheart Bussy. And Josie responds, Bussy is better than Peaches. And the Poorly Planned Podcast Clips, who is now a famous internet star, does in fact say Bussy equals Toad. So, lots to consider.
Lots of very wise opinions being put on the table.
Josie says Mario is way better than Shrek. Edit, Freddy hacked my account, not my opinion. Daniel says, man, the cocaine's really getting to Freddy's head. He's now hacking accounts. Hashtag Freddy out of control. Josie says hashtag Frampage. Daniel says hashtag Freddy got big. Josie says hashtag FaGeorge, the new Fathor. Daniel says hashtag he's definitely Freddy. So speaking of a lot of strong arguments being put on the table, God. You know, we haven't done this for like 4 weeks. I forgot the true
it's so
chaos
good
that happens here. God,
I love it.
Shrumpy says, honestly wasn't expecting a pod this soon, despite it being 2 weeks in wait. Maybe it's because my weeks have gotten a lot busier, but when I saw the notification, I could have sworn there was an episode last week. Time just flew by. Another very enjoyable episode. Also, I recently started working as a host at a restaurant that has another restaurant right across named Woody's. There is also a Regal Cinema only 6 minutes away from here. The stars have truly aligned. Hashtag my father was a pastor. Ooh. Hashtag I'm gonna need a gun.
What is this?
Hashtag I heart Bussy. What is happening to our comments? First of all, and I know saying this will only ensure its survival, I really hate that I've made I heart Bussy like a thing on our channel, which again, we support the message, like it comes from a good place, but it's just, our comments, if anyone looks at our comments, it's just filled with out of context I heart Bussies. But it's
gonna drive away new listeners. Let me check what the comment section here is like. You guys love Bussy?
It's like, what is this show about?
I want to get to the bottom of this pastor.
Someone please explain it. I'm so confused, but also I love it. Also,
it's gonna continue to be a joke they don't tell us about.
Why are we being? I feel like a kid who wasn't invited to a party or something. Why are we being left out by our own audience? But yeah, the Woody's thing is quite remarkable, and yeah, I'm gonna not be insulted by you say it didn't feel like a long time, whereas Lucas was saying that he could barely contain himself for another episode, but yeah, good stuff. Thank you, Shrumpy. ZJ13Goat says, very great way to start my week. Long break from school, and I'm with BHL and Mario, but something you didn't mention was how great the animation was. Looked amazing at points. Hashtag iHeartBussy. Did we not say that the animation was great? Because that was one of my favorite parts of it. I thought we would have mentioned it, but yeah.
Did we not mention it?
Anyway, the animation was fantastic.
Maybe not.
Cal W says, what would have been a rare FTKL has now become a common FTKW. Shrek 4 is vastly superior. Hashtag how the mighty have fallen. Hashtag my father was a pastor. Daniel responds, 100% Shrek 3 is very stinky and Shrek 4 is pretty good. NMS says, saying FTK has an L
just wrong.
Is like saying the Poorly Planned Podcast is a podcast. Just too obvious to state. Hashtag Christopher Smith, what a joke. Hashtag how the mighty have fallen. Is Christopher Smith Peacemaker? What? Oh my god, why? I think my brain literally just fucking broke there, like deciphering, just realizing Christopher Smith is Peacemaker. This is these comments are like actually killing me.
The true horror in your voice is Christopher Smith Peacemaker.
I'm actually I feel like I'm dying or something. Daniel says, another really great and enjoyable episode. Keep up the Toad-esque work. I have not yet seen the Mario movie, but I enjoyed your discussion about the film and how weirdly passionate Freddy got at times. But I'm afraid we have another FTKL. The fact that Freddy thinks Shrek 3 is better than Shrek 4 is a big L. I thought he was solely redeeming himself
God damn it.
after the John Wick 4 hate. And yes, it is hate, but I guess not. Here's hoping he redeems himself soon. Hashtag great Yoshi impression. And P.S. The number one film in your box office predictions video was Fast X, $1.4 billion, and I Heart Bussy. Thank you for pointing out the box office thing. I was mistaken on that. Thank you, Daniel. And yeah, you've taken some more L's. Let's see. Anson.
And I Heart
Bussy. I'm just going to not acknowledge it from now on. Just hope it goes away on its own. I should have never told that story.
Oh, it's so funny.
Anson says, it's so bizarrely fascinating to think that two wildly different properties such as Illumination's Mario and HBO's The Last of Us genuinely belong in the same conversation of how to make a good video game adaptation. No commonalities between the two, and yet they still represent the same thing. And Josie says, the similarities between the two is Mario plays golf and Joel gets killed with a golf club. They are connected. Good point.
So he's been put in his place, I guess.
But yeah, that's a very good point. We have gotten two very different types of how to adapt a game. It's pretty cool.
Also, actually, Dungeons and Dragons 3.
There you go. Well, I guess that's more of a card game than a video game. But
that is true.
You're right. Anyway,
fine.
The Poorly Planned Podcast clip says Toad. Thank you.
Very nice.
Benders says, who the fuck is Blenders? It's Benders. So I think I must have called him Blenders by accident. That is my bad. I will not do it. NMS says, Ryan Gosling is a tremendous comedic actor. His role in Barbie will quite possibly bring a brief second of world peace. Been a while since his comedic chops were on display. 2016's The Nice Guys. Absolutely, I'm so excited for that. I went on a bit of a Ryan Gosling interview binge, and he's just such a charming man. He's so funny.
He's just so great.
NMS also says, I love how I can come to this podcast for world-class insights on the Tom Cruise cake. I always felt there was a massive gaping hole in the field of Tom Cruise cake etymology. A poor or excellent choice of words there, but I agree. Jaden says, so the main thing I took away from this pod was that Freddy likes Shrek a lot more than the Mario movie. Also, I'm hoping in the Mario sequel,
God damn it,
Bowser will sing about how much he loves Tom Cruise's cake and also his pussy, for fuck's sake. Let's see. Hashtag BHL Big Noseson. Hashtag Freddy loves Shrek's bussy. Hashtag Little Duke motivational speech. God damn it. And then in the reply to this, Josie says, hashtag bear, hashtag peaches, hashtag bussy, hashtag Mario is better than Shrek. So, oh my god. I'm sorry, I can't even respond. Like, I can't register what's been happening here.
God.
BHL
Big Noseson.
I think we finally crossed the threshold where at first I feel like we were such goofy weirdos, and eventually our fans kind of like acclimated, and now the fans have surpassed us in insanity somehow. So we might have to up our game here.
I like how The comment section's just been. It used to be, oh, this is a good episode. Here's some good insights. It just turned into complete buffoonery and like bullying towards us.
I think is appropriate. Also, it definitely cannot be good for our chances in the algorithm. Just YouTube seeing hashtag I love Bussy being everywhere in our comments. God, yeah. Our inside jokes used to be like, oh, like Josh Gad, oh, Dwayne Johnson, now I heart Bussy, and my father was a pastor, I guess. It's been forced upon us.
They're forcing us to make inside jokes.
And make $575 per day says, do one thing every day that scares you. I'm going to guess this is a spam account, actually, so I don't know why I read that, but maybe it's our biggest fan. Who knows? And then in the other pod, the DreamWorks one, geez, okay. Alfeld left a big comment here. Let's see. Next week, make sure to read my comment from last pod about Mario. I'd really appreciate it. But here I have some news to remind you for next week. Kraven the Hunter is rated R. That is exciting. Aaron Taylor Johnson. He apparently eats someone's heart or something. Cool.
Nice.
The Flash trailer 2 and movie reactions. Apparently it's really good. We'll see. Beetlejuice 2 is announced.
I've seen the new Flash trailer.
Hey. It looks...
There we go. Up to date.
I actually avoided it because it's coming out pretty soon. I was like, I'll just see it. So
it does spoil it.
You have the upper hand for once. Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet, Keegan-Michael Key, and Rowan Atkinson, adds Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa. I don't know if you heard about this, but that is tremendous news. He will continue his hot streak of playing the same character.
Of course he's doing an Oompa Loompa.
That does sound fantastic. The Meg 2 footage, Chris Pine casts a new Disney movie, new Illumination movie casts Kumail Key and Danny DeVito. What a power trio. Fast X Part 2 comes out 2025. Kung Fu Panda 4 will have Po against a new foe called the Chameleon who can bring back villains from the past. Bring back Tai Lung. You're bluffing. He is in prison. Apparently the villain can bring back his old villain, so we might get Po facing off against all 3 villains from the other movies, which will be pretty badass.
Ooh, that sounds very cool.
The Fall Guys, starring Gosling, Duke, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, directed by David Leitch in 2024. That is exciting. I'm very hyped for that. SpongeBob 4, new animated Transformers, cast Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, Key as Bumblebee, and Ham. Also, Lemon and/or Tangerine is in there somewhere. Mission Impossible 7 moved up to July 12th, Tom Cruise, and the best for last, the official trailer for the 3rd edition of Poirot, coming to theaters September 15th. Spoilers, Jamie Dornan's in it. Also, Freddy, grow a pair about claymation. Damn.
God damn.
Yeah, actually,
but he basically did our job for us.
Yeah, thank you. That was
insulted me.
We weren't going to do much news this week, but thank you. You really came through. Also, yeah, the cast for the new Poirot. It does have Jamie Dornan, so that is pretty exciting. Thank you all, felled. ZJ says, great way to pass time on my ride home. No problem. Glad you enjoyed. Jaden Lewis says, no way BHL thought Wallace was the dog. Yeah, so here we do have to address...
Yeah, so here it begins.
So we got this comment, and I got... And this is how you know we really fucked up. I got 2 people from my actual, real, normal life texting me, how dare you call Wallace the dog? Which is very concerning. But yes, I've learned Gromit is the dog, Wallace is the man, and they're both lovers.
And they're doing a Rocket-esque scenario here.
It's beautiful, but also a crime against nature. ZJ says, I have random memories of watching some of these movies on DVD when I was a kid. That I do as well. Josie says, that puss and the ass joke had no right to be this funny. A simple joke, but broke the hell out of me. Glad you enjoyed. It's what we bring to the table, clearly. Puss and ass jokes. Daniel says, another great and enjoyable episode. Keep up the truly Jackman-esque work. And I do agree with Freddy on being weirded out by Wallace and Gromit and Flushed Away animation.
Let's go!
The animation really terrified me as a kid. Your biggest hater is coming through here as a fan.
I know, it's an unlikely sparring partner.
Yes, I can look at it now and see how much craft and effort goes into it, but as a kid, truly terrifying. So big FDKW. But again, him loving Shrek 3, a big FDKL, and possibly the best pod story ever. Went from a New Girl drinking game to a Shutter Island-esque diner, and you should definitely do more pods hungover. One of the funniest episodes ever. Keep it up. But BHL, maybe liking Shark Tale, possibly a big L. Well, thank you, Daniel. And yeah, trust me, there will be lots of pods that will be hungover in the future. In fact, I mean, It's been a day. I'm still a little bit hungover now. I'm not going to lie, but...
They say, in fact, it's been 2 weeks, and I'm still feeling the repercussions of True American.
Poorly Planned Podcast Clip says Shrek the Turd. Thank you.
God damn it.
Connor Beer says, the absolute disrespect put on Wallace and Gromit in Shrek 3 is a high-key L, but at least they gave the cinematic masterpiece that is flushed away the love it deserves. Also, since Donkey became Puss in Boots in Shrek 3, does that make him does that make him Puss in Boots? God damn it. God fucking, that caught me off guard.
I heart Puss. And to answer your question, absolutely it does.
Cal W says, I thought the part where Freddy went on a 45-minute rampage about why he wants to suck Shrek's toes was weird, but otherwise a great episode. And I agree. That was actually edited down, I hope you know.
Actually 3 hours.
Super Mason says, this episode gave me quite the Shrek-rection. I'm going to say you are blocked forever from the pod. Never contact us again.
Shrek-rection.
Movie Boy.
Goodness.
Shouldn't it be a Shrection? No, you were right. You were right. That was
better. You're right. Unblocked.
Movie Boy says...
Ishrection.
Ooh. Could you do a Ben and Fred watch and have a drinking game in there? That is not a bad shout at all. We will have a drunk Q&A in episode 200, so look forward to that. Jake De Bruyne says, is that true about Madagascar 4 being put on hold because of the incident? That was in fact false trivia, but it might be true, but I did make it up. Cal W says, honestly, this might actually be one of my favorite pods. You guys should be hungover more often. Well, that's concerning advice, but thank you.
But we'll take it to heart.
We can definitely do that. Man, wow. I appreciate that comment section was a little more tame than the other one, but the other one was one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had, but... God, excellent stuff.
Genuine fever dream.
Thank you, guys. Then on the fan page, Kian posted, when your Fridays have resorted to constantly checking the podcast page, hoping for a new podcast, we are sorry. But this one, which maybe will be coming out on like a Monday or something, can you believe it? Hopefully you enjoyed this, but appreciate you watching out for the pod. Holy fucking shit, I think we are done now.
Completely deflated.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a comment down below what you thought of Guardians 3 and other stuff. Probably some hashtags. I can't stop you. If someone could tell us about the pastor thing, I don't want to beg for it, but like I would appreciate it.
Yeah, like it doesn't really mean that much to me, but I'm getting kind of hurt by the fact that I don't know what's going on.
Left out. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating, a nice review. Tell your friends about the pod. Tell your family.
Tell the world.
Tell the world. You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson, Instagram, Twitter, BHL_Hudson, TikTok, BHL Hudson, Letterboxd, Real BHL Hudson. You can email the pod at bhlhudson@gmail.com. All these links are down below, as are the fan pages.
You can the fan pages. You can find me on Twitter at FTK_AdultSniper, although I evidently don't check it.
Yeah, you absolutely cannot.
You can tag me, and then BHL Hudson might tell me about it later. You can find me on Instagram at Fidalgard. You can find me on Letterboxd at FTK_Thwilms. And you can find me on YouTube at FTK Space Gaming.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time. Sean Gunn.